How can you say thank you for all the ways that God has been faithful to you? Friends, we have to remember. We have to remember all the ways that God fulfilled God's promise to us. We have to remember all the ways that God provided for us when we could not provide for ourselves. We ought to remember all the ways that God has been faithful to us when we were not faithful to God. We have to remember all the ways that God did exactly what God said God would do. And what do you do when you remember? Y'all, we got to say thank you. What do you do when you remember? We respond to that remembrance by giving back to God the evidence of what God has done for us. Every time you experience promise, you ought to respond with thankful practice. Every time you experience the fulfillment of God's promise, you ought to respond by putting it in your hand and giving it back to God. How will you say thank you?